Yes, I am ready to go live, and I am live over here on YouTube and Facebook and over here on Instagram. My name is Rebecca Hart. This is Free Tarot Fridays with Clear Tarot NYC, which is the name of my business. Oop, I have mascara in my eye, and all is well with the world. I'm over here on Instagram at the Tarot Philosopher. This is a little weekly shindig that I do where we chat a little bit about tarot related things, and then I do a free mini reading for someone I haven't read for before, because as I've said, I just find it easier to show you what I do rather than talk about the way that I do it, and I think maybe more interesting. This could be you. If you want a free reading from me and we have never worked together, please drop me a line over here in my direct messages or on the chat, or email me at cleartarotnyc@gmail.com. Drop me a line. I will schedule you in. One of the things I'm excited about, having been doing this little live stream for a while, also hello to the people who watch it later, because I think a lot of you watch it later, is that at the beginning I was kind of like, free reading, crickets. And I've started to meet some great people through these different channels who have asked me for the readings, and I get scheduling them out a couple weeks in advance now, and that's really nice. Now that I've said it, watch it not happen. Speaking of superstition, which is not how I approach the tarot. So yeah, I'm going to call this the Valentine's Day edition of Free Tarot Fridays because it's February 16th. Why not? Last Friday, it wasn't Valentine's Day. I did get to read cards at a Galentine's Day party, which is, I have to be honest, not a thing that I knew existed until this week when I read something in the paper that was like an op-ed being like, Galentine's Day is demeaning to women. And then I went to this party and there was like a whole bunch of women having the time of their lives. And as a friend of mine said, why is everyone constantly telling women they should stop doing things? I don't know how you guys feel about Valentine's Day. I don't have big feelings about it. I have never been like, I hate Valentine's Day, whether I'm single or whether I'm with somebody. I've always been like, oh my God, unedited me here, guys. I have makeup in my eye. I'm a romantic, when I'm with somebody, I always think, oh, Valentine's Day, that's fun. Let's do something. And if I'm not, I couldn't care less. I kept forgetting that it was coming. I think I went to a museum with my mom this year for Valentine's Day. Hey, Laura, what's up? But the Galentine's Day party was super fun. And it reminded me of something that I wound up talking a lot about that night, and that I want to talk to you about, which is, it's not new to be like, there are many different kinds of love, but there kind of are, because it was also not what I think my biased perception of what a Galentine's Day party was like women without love interests getting together. And it was like half the women that I talked to had partners, but they would not miss the Galentine's Day party for anything. And like a couple of the boyfriends showed up and gave everybody flowers halfway through and then left, which I thought was really cute. Again, I don't know if it was my speed, but it was really lovely. And so something I wanted to talk about today really briefly is one of the most famous major arcana tarot cards of all time, which is, of course, the Lovers. Here's one rendition. Here's a racier rendition from the Robin Wood Tarot deck that I feel like is going to get me banned from social media for distributing pornography. I don't know. It's a very 70s deck. And yes, I kind of scrolled through all my different tarot decks looking for one that was not like a man and a woman. And tarot is old and sexist and heteronormative. That is all true. On the other hand, it's that, but it's also, I think, trying to do something and trying to tell us something with these images that is a good segue into what I want to say, which is the reminder that tarot cards, the images on tarot cards are not people. I mean, I love saying they're not people, they're tarot cards. But especially with the major cards, right? The ones with big names like this, the Lovers, the Hierophant, the Hanged Man, whatever, those are not people. They're archetypal forces in the universe. And the tarot, one might say, has very commonly has images of men and women for the Lovers because it's sexist and heteronormative, but also because what it's talking about is not two people. It's talking about energetic poles, polarity, things that are drawn inexorably together because of this urge to merge together and create something else. And that, my friends, happens, as we know, sometimes between men and women, sometimes in same-sex relationships, sometimes not between people at all. Sometimes it's between you and um, a piece of art that you love, or a new habit or practice or hobby that you can become totally obsessed with and love it so much, or your art practice at all, or a place, it's the experience of what my guru Martha Beck calls the urge to merge, right? It's the drive to get as close as possible as you can to the object of your affection, obsession, desire, to become one with it, to have an experience of transcendence and oneness, and to let it change you, right? Or to even create something new that is greater than the both of you. I mean, the most obvious version of that is two people come together and creating a child, right? So the lovers, I like to remember, is an experience that can be part of a romantic relationship. And even in the best romantic relationships, is not the whole story. It's an ingredient in the recipe, right? It can also be present in romantic relationships that are not great relationships, because a relationship and the experience of the lovers are different things. And I think if we understood that more, we would not be as confused about why it's really hard to leave passionate, addictive relationships that are sometimes toxic, because that experience of oneness and of calling and of urge to merge and of even obsession can take place when everything else that needs to be there for a working human relationship is not there. Not to be Debbie Downer about it, but that also lets me segue into, yeah, I mean, I think where I'm not going with this, right? I was just reading a Modern Love column, I think it was, in the Times, about a woman who was talking about how after a failed marriage, she met someone 27 years younger than her. They fell in love, he proposed, they're married. And she was like, super, of course, stressed out and upset about being judged and criticized because older woman, younger man is still taboo, kind of, or in a way that she wouldn't be forgiven by society. It just wouldn't be there if it was a heterosexual relationship with an older man. Maybe that's changing. I don't know. But what really struck me is that she said, they decided to get married, and she was like, so many people said things to us like, well, just wait till you're married 7 years, or you're in the honeymoon phase and it'll pass. And my first thought was like, why do we say things like that to people? Like, people are in love and happy, and we're like, well, just remember, it's probably not real. Or like, it's going to just wait till you're married 7 years when that passes. And it's like, well, the lover's experience might pass, because like all major cards, it is a temporary, transient state of being that is there to teach us something. But their happiness doesn't have to pass. Their life as a couple doesn't have to pass. And actually, if we know that it will pass, we are better set up for having a good relationship. But we have to know what that means. And what it doesn't mean is like, well, you're going to be sick of each other and you'll realize it wasn't real. That's not what it means. It means that we're going to change. Things are going to change. All things change, right? This too shall pass. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that, like, I remember when I was a young woman or a kid and I was feeling like the pangs of love for the first time about somebody. And like, people cannot wait to run up to you when you're 14 or 13 to be like, well, it's not real. Like your friends or books you read, and like, sure, some well-meaning adults, whatever. And I think that this is, counterproductive, because like, also, for who are we to say that anyone's feelings or experiences are not real? And even if we're right, how has that ever helped anyone? Just so you know, your relationship's not real. Oh, thank you so much. I'll leave it. I'll do something else. So I think if we understood archetypes better, we might say, you're experiencing this. You're experiencing lovers, and then talk to each other about what a human relationship is and what it needs to survive, which is different. I think that would be constructive and not destructive. I was trying to think of other examples of like lovers' experiences that I have had that certainly have taken place between me and another person. But I'm working on a new collaborative piece of theater with a friend. He's a really great composer. I was walking down the street on my way to the Galentine's party, listening to the demos of the songs he's created, and just floating, 10 feet above the ground, because it was so transcendent and joyful. And I just kept, listening to the same song over and over. And I was thinking about when I first started writing songs as a kid, and how important music was to me. And I'd be there on the bus with my little Walkman, listening to my favorite songs over and over and over. Like, and people would be like, don't you get sick of listening to the same thing? You know, I'd read my favorite books over and over because I was in love with them. You know, I was having an experience of the lovers with this art form. You know, cliche, but like when I met my niece for the first time when she was a day old, you can't tell me that's not a form of falling in love, you know? So I say this because, you know, roughly 80% of all tarot card readings are like, am I going to find love? Am I going to have love? Blah, blah, blah. And it's always nice to see the lovers pop up. It's just like one piece of the puzzle, right? It's not like, yes, you're going to get it. You're going to have this forever. You will have this forever. It means you'll have this experience. And then we'll talk in other readings about what that relationship will be like. You know, you still have to keep kind of doing it. Not like that. Another thing is my mom gave me this week. This is she found this in her papers, a postcard that my father sent her when they were dating in 1969 from Ireland, where he was visiting for the first time. And it's a rare piece of my dad's writing in which he seems joyful and having this kind of transcendent, ecstatic, that's the word I'm looking for, experience. And I'm about to go to this part of Ireland in May, and I just thought that was pretty great. And he writes, this land, he writes some other things too, but this land, like Tolkien, he was big on The Lord of the Rings, reaches a deep and secret source in me, far past words. I am happy, and I have written much, including a short story. And I mean, I am happy. It reaches a deep and secret source in me, far past words, which if I've read for you before, my name for that deep and secret source is the Star, which is another major tarot card, but that's a topic for another day. So you guys, I'm going to do the free reading now. This week it is for someone whose Instagram name is Go Plethora. I don't know her real name, but I am going to do this reading because 2 weeks ago, I'm actually not sure. She asked me, you can correct me later, to do it and to talk to her about her business. And, you know, it's a question I'm always interested in questions like this. What path should I take in my business was the question, right? And you guys know how I feel about the word should. Like, it's not that I think it's a bad word and we should take it out of the language completely, but I do think that whenever someone comes to me and says, should I do something? I say, well, what if like the word should didn't exist? What are you left with? And if the word should didn't exist, what we're left with is, what do I want? You know? And I think it's important just because in matters of business, like in matters of everything else, but I'm finding more and more career-wise that if you ask, what do I want? And you answer it honestly, you're on the path to the thing that you should do, i.e. would be good for you, for other people, will have the most, you know, return for your investment, la, la, la. And if you don't go with what I want and go with a path where you don't really want it, it's going to feel like an uphill climb and maybe will not yield very much of anything. I'm saying this because this month I did a lot of letting go of things and was rewarded for them with other things happening. So that's just my first thing that I want to say. But as the host of my Galentine's party said to me, could we just speed things up a little bit so we can read more people? Hi, Autumn. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rebecca. This is Free Tarot Fridays with Rebecca from Clear Tarot, the tarot philosopher over here on Instagram. If you want to book readings with me, you can do it by sending me a message and we'll set it up, or on my website, cleartarotnyc.com. This is a free, short, quick and dirty mini reading that I do for somebody new every week. If you want it to be you, also you can drop your name in the chat. But longer readings or full length readings, I say you would just book with me separately. Also, I am doing a lot of events and parties, so I'm doing that too. Hi, Bex, nice to see you too. Okay, enough talking, Rebecca. For now, this is a reading for Go Plethora. I hope I'm pronouncing that handle correctly. What path should she take in her business? She wants to know about her business. We're going to talk to her about her business. Let's see, what have we got here? Well, okay. So, I mean, appropriately for a person asking this question, right? The first thing that comes up is the Hanged Man, which is like the universal card of I don't know what to do, and I feel stuck, right? I am hanging on the world tree. I am upside down. It is not comfortable. I would rather things be different. And what I say to people when they are in this position is to stay in this position and surrender to it. It is a major card. That means it's important, it's big, it's not within your control, and it is temporary, right? So we have two choices when we're like this. We can hang upside down, fight like hell to get right side up and fail and be even more uncomfortable, or we can surrender and be like, guess I'll look around. Oh, look, I'm seeing things from a new perspective that will help me when I get off this tree. Oh, good. There she is. Go plethora. I'm glad I'm saying it correct. So yeah, I mean, this whole reading could be just this card for you. I just don't believe in pulling cards, but here's where we're at right now. Let's just like relieve ourselves of the burden to go in any path in particular, right? So we've got that. You know, I get that there may be other people involved, but the thing is, I'm just going to pause and putting these out for a second, because when I see there's other people involved, sure, there's always in business decisions, there's other influences. You may be trying to build something, not just for you, but for other people. I mean, here's these three people with their pentacles, money, things of the world, building a house, trying to make a go of something. But when this comes up, here's another big fat major card that is our friend, the devil. Not Satan or the Christian devil, but the tarot devil, which to me is like the check engine light coming on in your car, right? Pull over, find out what's going on. I think the thing that I am getting from this, just if I had to look at it for 2 seconds, which is what I'm doing, I would say the temptation is going to be to force a solution, to push a move one way or another, maybe to please other people, or to like, you know, feel like you're pulling your weight or doing your part or whatever. And it's going to take you in a direction that's not super, I love looking at me like not super positive. What does it look like? You know, the devil comes up when we're engaged in our bad habits, in our isms, whatever it is. They're often in these renderings of the devil. There's this, you know, big demon figure, but there's also two people who are chained to a chest of treasure, you know, chained to a chest of gold. So I guess there's a little bit in here of like, checking your motivation. What are you doing for the wrong reasons? You know, what do you feel like you're beholden to? You know, because I see this kind of this stuckness and this struggle where the answer is always to lay off and take a pause. And then there's other people, and whenever other people come up, surprise, things become more complicated. But this, as a result of the stuckness and the other people, I want to say, I think you have to be really kind of ruthless about boundaries and making decisions based on what's right for you, which will turn out to be what's right for everyone. So let's see what else we've got here. You know, I mean, you may disagree with me about this. And again, I am just the tarot reader here, but I do think like you can afford to chill for a second, you know, just because what's coming up you as you are right now is this King of Pentacles. And that to me says mastery, having enough. I got what I need. Things are going well. You know, it's like, of course you have to keep working at your business, but you've been doing it. Immediate past is like this 8 of Pentacles. That's hard work. It's consistency more than anything. I mean, this guy is like making the donuts, making the pizzas, one after another, one after another. And that period of time is passing. And what's coming up is this another big fat major card of internal strength, right? The strength card is always a woman holding down the jaws of a lion, because the tarot is trying to remind us that strength comes from within. So I think there's a kind of overall message in here about trusting yourself and your instincts and really holding fast to them. And I also want to say that the final card that comes up as like the answer is justice. You know, so what you're doing is really like, you know, it's got to all be about your integrity right now, like holding a sense of integrity and really only taking action or picking a path that feels really good and right to you, and that will eventually result in just the right thing for the business. This is karmic justice, right? It's like all things are in their right place. They're coming out in the wash. They're balancing out in the end. Everybody gets what they need. Things are good. Is there anything else I want to say? I mean, I thought it's kind of funny. I was like, I'm going to shuffle this, and of course we're going to see the star card because I just talked about it. But I think that is important, that here we have in hopes and or fears is what I just talked about, right? That secret source within us that passes all words. That's the source of our joy, or when we it's the source of exactly who we are. It's our inner truth. It's our authenticity. And that's what we're really going for. You know, in your business right now, I think like your dream is to be like, I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I am me. I'm making choices based on what feels right and is aligned with my integrity. And it freaking pays off, you know? So like the people around you, like, of course, people are going to push back, and things are complex when other people are involved. And there's nothing in this tarot spread that makes me feel like there's any dark influences. I mean, even with that devil card, it just means like, don't, get in your own way. So it's a fast reading. If you want to talk to me about any of this at length, you can book readings with me. Let me know. cleartarotnyc.com. And that is this week's free reading. It's been so great to be here with you guys. Hi, Michael Goldwitz. Why does tarot have a silent T at the end? I don't really know, but I assume it's because tarot originated in Italy, as far as we know, in the 15th century. And I think it's not an English word. And like many Romance languages, it ends with a silent consonant. Autumn, hello. If you would like to be next week's free reading, or if anybody would, please drop me a message and let me know. It's been an honor to be here with you as always, and I'll see you next Friday in